Hello out there in YouTube land. This is Morrisman, and as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel and all the ongoing subscriptions and comments. I really appreciate them. Today I'm going to do my favorite or some of my favorite songwriters. And again, as I said in my other videos, I'm not going to entitle this the best or the top 10 because if I do, I get a bunch of comments stating, why aren't this guy on the list and why is this guy on the list? So again, I'm going to play it safe and I'm going to give you my personal, some of my favorite songwriters and why they're my favorite songwriters. And the first two people on the list is Paul McCartney and John Lennon, as you know, the Beatles. See, I got my Beatles tie on, my Beatles hat. I'm a big fan. And you think about their body of work. Here are two guys that were writing songs in their late teens and early 20s better than most people have twice their age. And they didn't write, very simple, 3-chord songs. They were like 2 minutes in length, but they did an incredible job during that short period of time because, again, the majority of the songs in the 60s were like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And the Beatles was able to, put together some chords, a chord progression, chord changes, a solo, and then sometimes they change keys. All this within 3 minutes. And I listen to these songs today that are 7 minutes long and they don't even have a bridge. So these two guys were like masters of songwriting. And here's a quick interesting tidbit about how they got started writing their own songs. One of my favorite English groups was Freddie and the Dreamers. And legend has it that the Beatles was about to do a cover of this song, and they heard Freddie and the Dreamers do their cover first. And when they heard them do their cover, they didn't think that they can match it. They said, you know what, from this point on, we're going to start writing our own songs. So, that's what legends, has it, that's what made them start writing their songs, Freddie and the Dreamers' performance of a cover, because that was quite common back in that era for a lot of groups to do a cover of one song, in the same year. You had like 5 covers of one song in the same year. So that's why they made my list. Number 2, Jimmy Jam and Lewis from The Time. Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam. They are one of, legendary songwriting team. And what I've heard as far as the story that unfolded as far as their production was, they were doing some production work aside from working with The Time and Prince. And they were late for rehearsal, and Prince, being the tyrant that he is, he fired them. And that was probably the best thing that Prince could have done for them because he released them to allow them to focus full time on being the great songwriters and producers that they are. I mean, the list is just extra long as far as the people that they wrote songs for. Janet Jackson, New Edition, Karen White, just to name a few. So, these guys were just phenomenal songwriters, and Prince did them a favor. Thanks, Prince. Next on the list is Babyface. Now, Babyface is really up there on my list because he writes very great songs. And what I love about Babyface productions is they're elaborate. He always have nice chord progressions. He is, I call him the master of the beat section, meaning that within the chorus of the verse, he changed chord progressions and it changes the melody, which makes the song to me more interesting when you do that. It allows the vocalist to kind of expand more too. So I love his songwriting, and he's written a lot of songs for a lot of artists too. So, and also he's a guitar player. He started off as a guitar player, but I really like his piano playing. So next, and his songwriting. Next on the list is my all-time favorite guy, Mr. Rick James. Rick James, if it wasn't for Rick James, I think I would have never picked up a guitar in my life, never attempted to write a song, never had an urge to be in a band. So I thank Mr. James for his contribution to the music world, and he is greatly missed. Next on the list is Stevie Wonder. What can I say about Stevie? Stevie does it all. And what makes it so incredible as far as his accomplishments is the fact that he doesn't have sight. So he has covered a lot of ground with the fact that he doesn't have sight. And he's done a lot of great things. I mean, great piano player, great songwriter, tremendous singer. Next on my list is, a lot of people are going to be surprised with this entry because a lot of the picks that I have are not traditional or typical. They're more or less sometimes obscure. And then when I name these people, hopefully you guys will say, you know what, let me check these people out from that aspect because I never looked at them like that. And the next person on the list, as far as one of my favorite songwriters, is Teddy Riley. Teddy Riley to me is a monster. I mean, this guy, if you just listen to the chord progressions, the compositions, the arrangements, this guy's just phenomenal to me. Tremendous piano player and very underrated when it comes to that. But Teddy Riley has written a lot of great songs for not only the group that he's in or the groups he's been in, also for his solo efforts, and then also for other artists. So he definitely made my favorite songwriters list, Mr. Teddy Riley. And next is Billy Joel. I really have a great deal of respect for Billy Joel. He has written a lot of songs over the years. And I admire anybody that can sing well and play piano, because initially I wanted to be like that. I do play piano, but unfortunately my piano skills never really developed to the point where, I can consider myself a piano player. But I'm a pretty decent piano player. The majority of songs that I do write, believe it or not, I write them on the piano. Then I transpose them to guitar. But I have a lot of respect for guys or women that can sing and play piano at the same time, because being that kind of artist, you can go out there by yourself and make a great deal of money. When you're just a guitar player and you don't really have vocal skills, you got to go get a singer, put together a band, and put everything together before you can kind of go out there. But for those people that can bring it just with themselves, the piano and their vocals, and they can go sit in the piano bar and play all night long, I commend those people. I really do. Okay, next on the list is Smokey Robinson. Smokey Robinson was just on fire back in the 60s, writing all these great songs, My Girl, You Better Shop Around, the list goes on for Smokey Robinson. I mean, this guy's just a phenomenal songwriter. And I believe his singing kind of overshadowed the fact that he's a tremendous, phenomenal songwriter. So definitely made my list. And number 10 is Burt Bacharach. Burt Bacharach has written a lot of beautiful songs. When you think of well-crafted songs, Burt Bacharach definitely shows up on the radar. And actually also, I'm going to add one additional person as I was thinking, and he definitely needs to be on the list too, is Barry Manilow. Barry Manilow is a tremendous singer and songwriter and piano player. And also just adding another one, Mr. Rupert Holmes. Most of us don't recall him. He wrote a song back in the 70s called Pina Colada, and it was a big hit. But he had a lot of other songs that were, to me, better. That was kind of a novelty song that just kind of caught on fire and it took off. But, there's an album that he put out, was called Partners in Crime. If I do a top 10 favorite albums, that album would definitely be on the list, because from start to finish, every song on there is just a beautiful piece of work. And one of my favorite ones is called Him. And it's about a guy who discovers that the woman he's involved with is seeing another man. And the way that he writes and the way that the words kind of just flow and unfold, you can visualize it in your mind. Because to me, when you are a good songwriter, the listener can actually visualize the story you're telling in their mind. And when I first heard that song, I visualized, experiencing what he was writing. So he is definitely a great songwriter to me and one of my favorites. I don't know why that one got away from me. But what's interesting is during the time that he was, on the charts in the 70s, he was overshadowed by Barry Manilow. Everybody kind of gave Barry Manilow that attention, and he did deserve it. But unfortunately, Rupert Holmes kind of was off to the sidelines because Barry Manilow was kind of getting all the glory. But here's something interesting. And the liner note for Rupert Holmes' greatest hits, it states this: to one of my greatest or favorite songwriters, signed Barry Manilow. So that lets you know how much Barry Manilow respected him as a songwriter, that he wrote that in the liner note of Rupert Holmes' greatest hits CD. So on that note, I'm going to conclude my favorite songwriters list. And as usual, I thank you guys for coming. And until next time, take care.